What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to MLB Swing for the Fences here on the YouTube Run Pure Sports YouTube channel. It's Sunday morning, August 17th. Man, I'm all over the place here. Dan, joined by Dan on Sunday morning. Still waking up, drinking some coffee, Dan, and ready to talk a pretty fun 9-game baseball slate. How you doing on this Sunday morning?
I'm doing great. Like you said, a little sleepy. I was up late watching that main event last night. Absolute ass kicking by our guy Hamzat. What did DDP do to prepare for that fight? Like, did he even train? I don't know what the fucking game plan there was, but it's good for us. I don't think we'll ever see Hamzat at minus like 225 ever again. He's probably gonna be like minus 400 going forward.
Honestly, Dan, I didn't watch the fights and kind of got to research late. I was on DDP and then I read your DFS write up on the site, and I was like, you know what, I'm switching board because all the RPS guys were on the Hamzat side. I'm like, I got to switch to your side. So thank you for that. It kind of saved my night a little bit.
Of course, man. Of course. I'm glad you switched over.
Yeah. Came to my senses late. Sometimes you can't be too stubborn. If you read something or see something that can change your mind, I'm always willing to switch late if you think it's the right call, right?
I got to be honest. I was looking at it early in the week and I was like, I think I kind of like DDP here. And then I started digging into it and I was like, yeah, I think maybe, but it just didn't feel right. So I hit up JBC and I was like, am I an idiot for kind of liking DDP here? And he's like, Yes, you are. Yeah. I was like, all right, I'm willing to change my mind.
Yep. When you're kind of on the fence about it, and it's good to be able to change your mind late and get on the right stuff. So happy we got there.
Yeah, I did not think it would look like that though. That was completely dominant.
He mauled them for sure. What do you get? 12 takedowns? Crazy.
12 takedowns, 500 something strikes. Yeah, 242 points, which is the most ever on DraftKings. So man, that guy's a monster.
It's like a throwback Russell Westbrook triple-double season type game, just racking them up everywhere.
Yeah, man.
All right, let's get into these baseball games. 9 of them to talk about. We start off in Boston with, I think, an important one right off the bat. Lefty Garrett Crochet going for the Red Sox, coming off a rough start last time out. We've seen some of these horses break down a little bit recently. Zach Wheeler went on the IL. We've seen some rougher starts from Skubal recently. Crochet coming off a bad one. But he does get a pretty good matchup here against a somewhat watered-down Miami lineup and clearly the most talented pitcher on this slate, Dan. I think you'd agree. It's a pretty tough slate to find high-end talent options. And then Jansen Junk going for the Marlins, throwing from the right side. He's been decent enough. But I do think the league is kind of starting to figure it out with Jansen Junk. And then it should be noted, Dan, really, really good hitting conditions here in Fenway. I do a lot of these shows and do a lot of baseball research. I think this is the best rated Fenway Park weather game for hitting that we've had all season, or very close to it. Hot, humid, winds blowing out. So kind of a scary spot for Crochet, I think, at that price point in ownership. And then, Boston lefties look good to me here. Final note before I let you go, should be 0 lefties available in the Miami pen. Used their only guy for a bunch of pitches yesterday. That helps out a lot. Guys like Anthony, Abreu, Yoshida, who could be pinch hit risks. So I think a really important first game here, Dan. Go ahead, Marlins and Red Sox.
I'm with you on this one, man. I thought I was going to get some more Marlins, and I might just bump them just for, contrarian purposes, going against who should be far and away the highest known pitcher in one of the best hitting environments on the slate. But like you said, the Boston lefts, that's who I'm getting the most of. Yoshida, Duran, Abreu.
These guys are just awesome plays today. Awesome plays.
Yeah, Boston's a smash spot today. The ownership is going to be there, but you've got low-owned options at the bottom of the Sox lineup with, Toro, Gonzalez, Narvaez. Like, they'll all probably come around 10 or lower. So you mix those guys in, you're set. And Crochet, obviously, far and away the best pitcher on the slate. My stuff is slamming him. I don't really see much of a reason to go anywhere else. We seem like we have plenty of value on this slate. So not having much trouble fitting him into my builds, especially when you got Will Warren, who we'll talk about. But that's basically it for me on this one.
Yeah, Yeah, the Boston lefties, like I said, I think are some of the very best plays on the slate. I'm a little torn on Crochet. Just like for sure, you can fit him.
Yeah.
I don't know. A little bit nervous that it's not going to go well. You said you're playing some of the Miami bats as leverage against Crochet, or no?
Yeah, some of them might sneak in there just because they are a good value and it is such a good hitting environment. But I'm not going to go too far out of my way to jam them. But they've got some value bats that. Let me see who I've got sneaking in here right now. Let me just get this down to Miami. I'm getting a little bit of Lopez, Edwards, a little bit of Dane Myers.
Okay, makes sense.
That's about it for them.
Yeah. I like these guys a little bit as one-offs. Home runs, Crochet does give them up, and we know the weather's perfect. So, yeah, Agustin Ramirez, one of them I'm looking at. But I think all these guys are kind of reasonable contrarian plays for people or lineups, I guess, that don't have Crochet on them. Let's get to next game on the slate, the Rangers and the Blue Jays. This one in Toronto. It'll be the righties, Eovaldi, Jose Barrios going. Looks like pretty normal lineups on both sides. George Springer back in there for the Blue Jays. Yeah, and the Rangers have most of their normal guys in there. Eovaldi coming off that really rough start against Arizona. I think he was pretty popular that day. Didn't go well. And then Jose Barrios, been solid as of late. We kind of know who he is. I'm kind of neutral on this game, Dan. I don't find myself really wanting to pay that price for Eovaldi, but don't really want to stack against him either. And then a little bit of the same story with Barrios versus the Rangers. Where'd you end up with Rangers and Blue Jays here?
I'm with you here. I'm getting very little of them. I'm getting some Seager, Josh Smith, a little bit of Semien, but other than that, really not getting any Toronto bats. As far as the pitchers go, I'm getting like 5% of both of these guys. Neither of these guys really stand out too much to me. Yeah, I mean, Eovaldi is actually like a horrible value all the way up there at 10-6. So
agreed.
Not too much from this game. Maybe like some secondary stacks, one-off bats, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, Saber in terms of value has to have. Yeah, they've got Eovaldi all the way down here at the bottom at just ahead of two pitchers in terms of point per dollar value, and he'll get 10% ownership, or somewhere around there. So I'm with you on the Eovaldi fade. Barrios, not a ton of interest. And then, yeah, like you said, just kind of sprinkling in some of the bats. I do think, Pilali, I could see a stack against Eovaldi working out with the Blue Jays. With how much contact they make, they can always get there. So maybe a super low-owned Blue Jays stack could work out, but I do think there are better spots overall. Let's get to Milwaukee and Cincinnati up next. Pretty big total overall in this one. Two veteran lefties, Andrew Abbott and Jose Quintana, neither of whom project pretty well, at least per the SaberSim projections. But I do like Quintana a little bit here. Curious where you ended up with him and the rest of this game, Dan. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got Abbott projected just a little bit higher than Saber. I've got him by about a point. So I'm getting about like 15% of Abbott. I know the Brewers have been they've been on quite a run lately. But I do like Abbott a little bit. And I'm getting more Cincinnati bats than I'm getting Milwaukee bats from here. So I'm getting some Ellie. I'm getting some Steer. If you want to play some Milwaukee bats, I like Contreras. But yeah, this Milwaukee lineup looks pretty watered down as well. So I'm not getting a ton here. It's always a good hitting environment, though. Great American Ballpark, Great American Small Park. Looks like home runs should actually be up. So yeah, I'll probably actually be looking to boost some of these Cincinnati bats, but looks like my stuff is kind of lower on Milwaukee and wants to play out of it.
Makes sense. Milwaukee's obviously been super, super hot over the last couple of months, and Quintana feels pretty safe to me. I mean, he's made it 6+ innings in, I think, 10 straight starts, 5+ innings in 10 straight starts, something like that for Quintana. Looking at this Reds lineup, I do think there should be, decent strikeout rates for most of these guys and not a lot of threat. So, yeah, I'm in on the Quintana train. Honestly, one that I'm kind of surprised he doesn't project higher than he does over on Saber. So
His
Yeah.
strikeout prop is pretty low. He's like surrounded by guys like Barrios, Allen, Berger, who all have strikeout props, like strikeout better. Quintana's velo is also like pretty low over the month. He's throwing like 90. I don't know. I'm actually surprised. I would expect to see more. I'd expect to see better home run numbers on Cincinnati, but it's not there. It's weird for the weather in the ballpark.
Yeah. I'm rethinking my Quintana stance a little bit. Maybe I need to join you on the crochet train, Dan, is probably what I need to do over Quintana.
Yeah. I mean, like, so I'll run an optimizer, but then I'll also run stuff through through SaberSim's kind of like portfolio management thing. And I'm getting 70% crochet in both. Like usually the portfolio manager will flatten things out a little bit, but it's going full all in on crochet.
What do you got crochet projected for?
How many points? I have him at 21.5. So slightly better than Saber.
Yeah.
But not by much.
Yeah, makes sense. You said you you bumped Abbott a little bit. So you have like 15%?
Yeah, I'm getting around 15. I've got him. Where is he? Yeah, I've got him like 1.5 better than Saber. So getting a good amount of him. I would probably be getting more, but I did cap him at 15 just because a lot of times with these lower owned pitchers, if you just kind of let things run, like it gets pretty out of hand. You end up with like 30-40% of a 7% guy. You really don't need to do all that most of the time. Like I'm pretty happy with like 15-20 on a guy who's projecting to be single digits.
No, I hear that. Not getting too crazy over there, Dan. Keeping it, that's good stuff.
You don't have to have your whole Sunday hinging on Andrew Abbott in one of the best hitting parks on the slate.
Yeah, that's probably a wise move, to be honest. Let's get to Atlanta and Cleveland. This one, in Cleveland, wind blowing in here, 80 degrees. Should play, I think, double check, but
just real quick. Corey Brewer is asking, is Monasterio pinch hit risk? Yeah, I've got him at like nearly 40% to be pinch hit for. So I wouldn't be one off in him, that's for sure.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me on Monasterio. So good call there. Yeah, Cleveland here, a little bit of rain to look out for, should be fine. Eric Fetty, as the Braves play out the string here, was he giving up at least 3 earned runs in 7 straight starts? So he's been hit hard. Wasn't any good with the Cardinals. If anything, it seems to be even worse with the Braves. I don't love the Guardians lineup in general, just not an exciting one, but I do think they got to be in play here against Fetty and the Braves. And then Logan Allen, mediocre lefty, going for the Guardians. And the Braves have got some guys who are hitting lefties well, including, of course, Ronald Acuna back in the lineup for the Braves, which makes their team just way more exciting in general, obviously. But, a little bit of an interesting spot, kind of like the offenses here. What about you, Dan? What do you see between the Braves and the Guardians?
Yeah, I'm not getting any of this pitching. Fetty, I've got him a good 2 points lower than Saber, so I'm getting 0 of him. I'm getting a tiny amount of Logan Allen, but he's another one, like I'm 1.5 lower on him. Velo way down. Strikeout prop doesn't stand out. And like you said, Atlanta has been hitting, and they've got some of the best home run upside on the slate in like Acuna, Olsen. Let me see, what's Albie's home run number here? Probably not him, but Acuna, Olsen, Ozuna, Sean Murphy down here. So I like the Atlanta bats quite a bit, but I like the Cleveland bats more. And I think it has a lot to do with what we just talked about with Fetty and how bad he's been. Ramirez, Naylor, Rocchio, Manzardo. I'm getting a good amount of the Cleveland bats here.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Fetty just hasn't been able to get anybody out. Braves bullpen a little bit weak behind him. They do have, they've got a couple lefties available, but I'm with you. I think Guardians make a lot of sense. I like the Braves too. Mostly the righties. Profar, Acuna, Ozuna, Albies, Murphy would be the guys I would play for the Braves. And then I'm with you on the Guardians bats. I think a lot of them make sense against Fetty, who just a guy you want to stack against in general today. A pretty good day to do it with some reasonably priced Guardians. Let's get to Baltimore and Houston up next. Minute Maid Park in Houston here. Christian Javier making his second start of the year for the Astros. Did better than I expected against Boston in that first one. 5 pretty good innings from Javier, who had been struggling a lot down in the minor leagues before getting called up. But he did pitch well there. I still have a lot of interest, Dan, in left-handed guys with speed against Javier. And they got Orioles have 2 guys right at the top, Holiday and Henderson, who I think are awesome plays. Like Colton Cowser quite a bit. I think he's hitting 5th today. Little power and speed from him. I think those guys are interesting for sure. They've got a super cheap bottom of the order too. I think the Orioles are going to go a little bit overlooked. I like them a ton on this slate. And then Dean Kramer going for Baltimore. I looked at playing him just as kind of a mid-range guy, but came up a little bit unexcited about that. But I'm not crazy about the Astros here as an offense. Where'd you end up with Orioles and Astros?
Yeah, I'm actually getting a good amount of the pitching from here. I've got Dean Kramer is my 3rd highest owned pitcher at the moment, which I would not have expected before running stuff. And then I'm getting Javier just slightly below him, around where I've got Abbott. Really just probably speaks to the state of the pitching slate.
Yeah.
And this is why we're getting 70% here at Crochet. But hey, man, I think Kramer's popped for some pretty big scores over the course of the season. So, he can get there. He can throw strikeouts. Same deal with Javier. And then as far as the bats go, the lefts, like you said, from Baltimore, I'm also getting a good amount of Jordan Westberg from Baltimore. He's another one, even though he's a righty. I think, let's see where he's got a pretty good shot of hitting a home run today. He's been barreling. Let me see. I'm not getting that much of the Houston side, but that's probably because I'm getting a good amount of Kramer, and that's how projections work. If I like the pitcher, I probably don't like the bats that much. So, yeah, man, I actually like pitching quite a bit. And it looks like, it's not like a terrible hitting environment, but it really doesn't stand out too much on this slate. If you go to the Park Factor page, it's all the way at the bottom. Home runs, it's not so bad, but there are just way, way better hitting spots on the slate.
Yeah, so I don't mind the Kramer play, but this was one of the choices I made when I was doing my research this morning. Kramer versus Quintana in that high 7 to low 8K range, and I came away. I thought Quintana was just straight up the better play. So this is one of those spots that I like, right, where I'm getting Quintana at projected 2% ownership versus 16 for Kramer. He's also cheaper, and I just like him better. So I guess I'm back in on the Quintana train now that we kind of talked through it, right? That makes sense if I feel that way. So
I think Kramer probably, just looking at the strikeout props, I think Kramer has a bit more strikeout upside.
I guess that's, what I'm probably specifically disagreeing is the strikeout props, right?
Yeah,
that's what drives that number to begin with. So
I got you.
Yeah. That's interesting. I still do like Kramer some, but I do like Quintana better. So that'll be a stand for me for sure. Let's get to Detroit and Minnesota. I think another interesting one here. Chris Paddock pitching against his former team was traded from Minnesota over to Detroit at the trade deadline. He hasn't been much better for the Tigers than he was for the Twins, but he'll go against his former team here. And then the Twins, they're in a rough spot right now. I don't know if you got a chance to look at the Twins bullpen usage. I think they're going to struggle to get through this game, Dan. They are just completely gassed out. They didn't call anybody up. They've only got one lefty in the pen who's pitched in 4 of the last 5 days. I'm guessing he's unavailable. So the Tigers lefties, some of these guys, Keith, Carpenter, McKinstry, Sweeney would normally be big pinch hit risks. I think they're safe in this game. I think they should be able to go all 9. And there's just nothing in the Twins pen, even beyond that fact. So I really, really like the Tigers here. The Tigers lefties and the Red Sox lefties, I think, are in the sneakiest spots of the day overall. Wind blowing in Target Field, not ideal, but just the pitching situation for the Twins is really, really dire right now. So in on the Tigers here, Dan. Talk to us, Tigers and Twins.
Yeah, I'm not getting much Tigers, but maybe I have to bump them up because you make some good points. Do it. So, I mean, yeah, Twins got someone named Thomas Hatch pitching. I don't know who the fuck that is.
He's terrible. Yeah.
Okay. I'll take your word on that for sure. Yeah, Detroit, they're a bit expensive. They have more home run upside than the other like most expensive stacks on the slate, like New York, Chicago, Toronto. So I don't mind bumping Detroit. They could definitely do some damage early and late once they start getting into that bullpen. So I'll bump them a bit. I'm getting more Twins bats at the moment though. And then for pitching, I'm getting 10% Thomas Hatch. He's actually projecting really well for minimum price. I mean, 5,300. You really don't got to do all that much at 5,300.
He won't. So.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the Hatch Crochet pairing is a little interesting, just so you can get to some of the more expensive bats with Crochet. I imagine those combinations won't be too common. You might not need to go down that far, but I mean, let me see what I got with him because I'm getting 10% of him. So who's he getting paired with?
Probably Crochet, right?
Oh yeah, it's like basically all Hatch and Crochet, and then you're getting, but you're getting like Cubs lineups in here, which you're not really getting too much of otherwise.
Yeah, I mean,
it's obviously pretty dicey. I don't have a ton of confidence in them, but when you're trying to beat a couple 10,000 people, sometimes you got to give the Thomas Hatches of the world a spin, and at least some of your lineups.
I mean, it makes some sense. Would I be totally shocked if he owns the Tigers? No. So makes sense at 5,300. But I'll leave Mr. Hatch to you. I'll take my my Tigers lefties against him and take my chances there. You getting any Paddock?
Paddock, let me see. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm getting like 5%.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
You said you had a decent amount of Twins, right?
I do, yeah. Yeah, I'm getting
who do you have as the Twins' best plays?
I got Buxton, Royce Lewis, Clemens, Wallner from like 10% down to 6% for Wallner. Throw Jeffers in there. Let me see how much of this stack I'm actually getting. Looks like the Twins are my 6th highest stack at the moment.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, they do look pretty good. The values look good. And this lineup's not as bad as people think right now. The Twins got some of their youngsters up. They're playing okay. So I get it. I'm on the Tiger side of this one, but do get the Twins as well. And,
the Twins are right there as far as like home run value.
Yeah.
Like their home run numbers are comparable to the Braves, who they're also like the stack is about the same price. So
yeah. Sabres got Tigers projected all the way up at 5.2 team total, which I think is higher than the market has them. So they do seem to agree with me somewhat on the Tigers bats. Let's get to the last 3 games. We'll go to Kansas City, where it's going to be a very hitter-friendly environment here. We've got heat, wind blowing out. Yeah, ball should be flying in KC today. So I think we're going to see some people interested in the White Sox bats and the maybe especially so the Royals bats. Davis Martin going for the White Sox, Ryan Bergert for the Royals. Bergert's been pretty solid 4 starts in a row. I know Boynton's a hater of Bergert, but he's been okay. I did look at him at 7,200 against this White Sox team. I think that's a reasonable play. And then I do like the Royals quite a bit against Davis Martin, specifically Pasquantino in the middle of it. I think is one of the better plays, one-offs on the slate. Colson Montgomery, certainly like him a ton. For the White Sox, if we're talking individual bats, what about you, Dan? White Sox and Royals, what'd you do with this one?
Yeah, these are my 3rd and 4th highest on stacks.
Yeah.
Like you said, great hitting weather. The pitching is not too scary. I'm getting like 5% Burger. I'm getting no Davis Martin. Usual suspects for Kansas City: Bobby Witt, Michael Garcia, Sal Perez, like you mentioned, Pescatino. And I'm always pretty interested in the White Sox because they're always cheap, and they have, according to my stuff, they've got like the most home run upside on the slate. So
The White Sox do?
Yeah. So I'm going to be playing a good amount of White Sox. Vargas, Sosa, Taubman, Montgomery. Those are my top White Sox bats. But yeah, I like this game for its bats, man. I think we're going to see, like you said, the ball flying.
Yeah, this feels like a really high scoring game from both sides. In KC, just blazing heat, bad pitching, bad bullpens. Yeah, I'm with you there. I do like a couple of the spots better, Tigers and Red Sox, but these would be certainly both in my top 5, KC and the White Sox. So I'm with you there. St. Louis and the Yankees are up next. This one in Busch Stadium, where I'm sure we'll have similar weather to KC. Yeah, it'll be hot, humid. Looks like very little wind in St. Louis. Miles Mikolas going for St. Louis. Pitched well, of course, against the Rockies last time out, but much different story for Mikolas here against a Yankees team that's got a ton of power. Really all the way down to the 8 hole. Do the Yankees bring power to the plate against Mikolas on the day the ball will be flying? So I do think these Yankees are interesting against Mikolas. And then Will Warren going for the Yankees. He's pitched pretty well this season. I've certainly used him from time to time. Looks like he'll get a fair amount of ownership, 25% or so. Sabres got for Will Warren. That feels fair to me at 8,200 in a decent spot against a pretty light hitting Cardinals lineup overall. I get the Will Warren love for sure. I'm out on Mikolas, and then I do think the Yankees especially look good. I also think the Cardinals lefties are good contrarian plays. Nootbaar, Burleson, Gorman all look somewhat interesting to me. Over to you, Dan, for Yankees and Cardinals here.
Yeah, I'm getting a good amount of the Yankees bats. I'm also getting a ton of Will Warren. My most used pitcher combination, I think I mentioned it before, is definitely going to be Crochet and Warren. St. Louis, let me see what they look like. Yeah, man, I've just got St. Louis projected really poorly, and I've got Will Warren. I've got to have him more than Saber, I think. I've got Will Warren. No, I've actually got him exactly the same, but he rates out as the best value on the slate. That's not Thomas Hatch. So I'm definitely going to be leaning heavier into Warren than I am into Hatch for sure. But yeah, for me, it's Warren, Yankee bats, Grisham, Rice, McMahon, Judge, obviously. Yeah, that's all my favorite stuff from that game.
Yeah, I mean, just makes a ton of sense with the Yankees bats. You have a question to answer for this one? Warren or Kramer, DK Cash? Who would it be for you? It wouldn't be either for me, but I do get it.
Warren for sure.
Warren over Kramer makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get? You're playing just all most of the Yankees power, I assume, is mixed in for you.
Yeah. The only. Well, okay. So I don't have any Goldschmidt, Dominguez, or Caballero on my first runs. But if I'm playing Yankees 5-mans, yeah, I've got a good amount of Yankees 5-mans. I'm definitely gonna, boost those. Like lower in the order bats just to get them in there.
Yeah,
but it's mostly the power.
Yeah, I could see that for sure with Yankees and Cardinals. Like I said, I'll mix in some of those Cardinals lefties for sure. But let's talk about the last game of the slate. Before we do, good time to remind you guys, hit the like button if you're watching the show here on Sunday afternoon with us. And then, of course, take a look at our NFL packages and full sport packages up on Run Pure Sports. We do have separate NFL packages listed at several different price points. Great time to sign up, Dan. We got 2 weeks till football season, man. We're almost here. We're ready. UFC, everything everybody needs. Boom reports over at Run Pure Sports. You can use promo code RPS15 for 15% off your first payment. And just an awesome time of year for the sports season. So get on over to Run Pure Sports. Dan, let's talk about the last game on the slate. After that, we'll go back over our favorite pitching stacks, all that stuff, and then get on out of here and build some lineups. But first, we go to Wrigley Field, where the wind will be blowing in today, so should play pitcher friendly. In Chicago, we've got Mladzinski opening, I believe, and then Haney, lefty Andrew Heaney, going for Pittsburgh. And on the Chicago side, we've got the second start of the season for Javier Assad, 6,800. And I was laughing at myself, Dan, because, you're talking about, which pitchers we're confident in. What do you say the Hatch as the highest projected value point per dollar?
Yep.
And my point per dollar guy, you can't make fun of Hatch too much when I think Assad is the best point per dollar play pitcher on the slate. So I'm rolling with some Assad for the Cubs here. I think he's an okay arm in great pitching weather where most people have to deal with really tough parks. It's a terrible lineup in the Pirates, and I think they'll let Assad go. I don't see why not. They wouldn't let him throw 5+ innings here. So I like him a ton at 6,800. But that's mostly it for me in this game. I'm not going to play a ton of Cubs just with the wind blowing in, even against the Pirates. What are you doing, Dan, with Cubs and Pirates here?
Yeah, I'm much lower on Assad. Saber has him at nearly 14. I've got him at 10. So I'm about 4 points lower on Assad. So what's that?
This isn't good, Dan. I was hoping you were going to join the Assad train with me.
No, I was actually staring at him in my fantasy league too. I was like, do I pick this guy up just for some cheap pitcher points? And I was like, no, I'll keep my bats. The scoring in my league is also really fucking stupid. And it's basically how many pitchers you can stockpile and start. Anyway, that doesn't matter. I'm getting 3% Assad. And then Chicago bats, I'm getting 5% of Tucker, Suzuki, Happ each. But other than that, I'm not getting a whole lot. I got Pittsburgh showing as a really good value, but they're not showing up all that much. I'm getting 4% of kind of these just min price guys. I'm fine with it, but it's the worst hitting environment on the slate. So I'm not going to be pushing anybody from this game.
Yeah. Worst hitting environment on the slate for the Pirates, and you don't like Assad at 6,800. Must be. Yeah. All right.
I'm as surprised as you.
we'll find out on Javier Assad. I'm sticking with that one for sure. You got me backing down a little bit on Quintana, but I'm sticking with the Assad train at 6,800 for sure. Let's go back over some of our favorite plays. I guess we'll stick right there for pitching. My favorite combination is the aforementioned Javier Assad paired with Garrett Crochet is the way I would want to play it. But I do like Jose Quintana at a super low on price there in the mid-range at 7,800. Pitching, Dan, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I've got Crochet and Warren is my most used combination. If you want to go for something that is less chalky, I would go Crochet and Kramer.
Yeah, so you must think Assad at 21% owned here, projected by Saber. You're way out on that one. So yeah, we differ there. Let's get to favorite.
I love money. I hate that I have to use it, but I love having it.
Yes. Let's go to stacks. Give me two you like the best, and maybe a contrarian stack that you're higher on, Dan.
All right. So I've got Boston and Cleveland are my top stacks at the moment. That probably won't change too much. And then contrarian, I feel like, let me just sort this by ownership. Contrarian stack that I like. Do I like any contrarian stacks? I mean, Cincinnati is not getting that much ownership, and they're, again, in probably one of the best hitting environments on the slate. Minnesota, actually. I'm going to go with Minnesota. That's my favorite contrarian stack.
I like it. I'll go with Tigers and Red Sox, the lefties from both sides. The two bullpens that don't have lefties available are my overall favorite plays on the slate. And then I'm not sure how contrarian they'll be, but throwing the Orioles lefties against Christian Javier, especially the guys with speed, that'd be Jackson Holliday, Gunnar Henderson, and Colton Cowser specifically are the three I'm looking at most closely from the Orioles. Let's do a home run call, Dan, to finish this off, and then we got the slate starting in less than an hour, so we'll get out of here and build lineups. But who's going yard today? Give me one name.
Who's going yard today? All right. Let me try to find a fun one. I think we did pretty good last time when I dug a little deeper. Let's go with Colson Montgomery.
Ooh, there's a very, very strong call from Dan. I love it.
Deep cut.
Yeah. And I'll go with give me Kerry Carpenter going deep for the Tigers. Hopefully they got a few bombs in them today.
Nice.
That'll do it for this Sunday morning show. Thanks for joining, everybody. Hit the like button on your way out. Take a look at the packages over at Run Pure Sports. This show will be back at the normal time. Game Log Mondays return with JT and Big T. That'll be a fun show. We'll see you there. Until then, he's Dan. I'm DC. We're out of here.